I think even you would acknowledge you have an incredible amount of power at this moment in time. Why should we trust you?
You shouldn't.
Can we really trust these AI companies? The companies building the most powerful form of intelligence. Will they handle this power responsibly? Or will they just use it for their own benefit? To answer all these questions, we must go back to the year 2019, the year COVID struck the world.
China has identified the cause of the
mysterious new virus.
Coronavirus.
There are fears a rapidly spreading virus has reached Australia.
This is a rapidly emerging situation where there is not a cause for alarm.
The first US case has been detected.
There's confirmation the coronavirus has reached Australia.
China is urging its citizens not to travel abroad as it struggles to contain the virus.
We will be standing up Christmas Island as a quarantine area.
Foreign nationals coming from China are now banned from entering the country.
I have today declared that the coronavirus presents a public health emergency in the United States.
The reason I brought you back to 2019 is to make you remember. Remember how Meta, the tech giant we all know, disabled obvious facts about the pandemic while pushing forced propaganda for those in power.
We face a number of important issues around privacy, safety, and democracy.
Meta founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg says he was pressured by the Biden administration to censor content on Facebook and Instagram during the coronavirus pandemic, much of it expressing humor, satire, and frustration over COVID-19. In a letter addressed to the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee of the U.S. House of Representatives, Zuckerberg says the government pressure was wrong and he regrets buckling under it. Zuckerberg went on to say, with the benefit of hindsight and new information, those decisions to pull material would not be made today.
Our job is to make sure that we build tools.
Zuckerberg is no stranger to being grilled on U.S. Capitol Hill. The Meta CEO's complaints in the letter are in response to an investigation into online content moderation. But while Meta is crying foul about White House pressure over pandemic censorship, lawsuits allege ongoing Meta censorship of pro-Palestinian content and posts on the war and suffering in Gaza.
I think it's well documented that Facebook has been silencing pro-Palestinian content.
A former Meta engineer filed a suit accusing Meta of launching an investigation into the use of the Palestinian flag, but not for the Israeli or Ukrainian flags.
If he was really this concerned about this type of, about the government putting its thumb on his private company, then he should have been screaming at the mountaintops 2-3 years ago, not waiting until 3 months before an election.
Regarding the pressure on pandemic posts, the White House issued a statement defending the administration's approach, saying it was protecting public health and safety, and says tech companies should take into account the effects their actions have on the American people while making independent choices about the information they present. Washington has been in a multi-year argument about the role of social media companies in suppressing content, and while Republicans in the U.S. Capitol say the Zuckerberg letter is a big win for free speech, millions more around the world say this highlights the hypocrisy of alleged online fairness and the censoring of vital public information.
Or how Microsoft, with Bill Gates at the forefront, was all in on supporting and pushing the vaccine, even when secure proof of its effectiveness wasn't fully established.
Today, the greatest risk of global catastrophe doesn't look like this. Instead, it looks like this. If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus rather than a war. Now, part of the reason for this is that we have invested a huge amount in nuclear deterrence, but we've actually invested very little in a system to stop an epidemic. We're not ready for the next epidemic. The failure to prepare could allow the next epidemic to be dramatically more devastating than Ebola. The best lessons, I think, on how to get prepared are, again, what we do for war. We need a medical reserve corps. Lots of people who've got the training and background who are ready to go with the expertise. And then we need to pair those medical people with the military, taking advantage of the military's ability to move fast, do logistics, and secure areas. We need to do simulations, germ games, not war games, so that we see where the holes are. Finally, we need lots of advanced R&D in areas of vaccines and diagnostics. There are some big breakthroughs, like the adeno-associated virus, that could work very, very quickly. Now, I don't have an exact budget for what this would cost, but I'm quite sure it's very modest compared to the potential harm. The World Bank estimates that if we have a worldwide flu epidemic, global wealth will go down by over $3 trillion, and we'd have millions and millions of deaths. If we start now, we can be ready for the next epidemic. Thank you.
There are pockets, and significant pockets, of the country where vaccines aren't happening because of those, the anti-vaxxers, or whatever you want to call them, who have made significant headway in trying to convince parents they shouldn't vaccinate children. I was just looking at new data today from Orange County, California, with more than a few schools showing between 40% and 60% children not vaccinated.
You could say this is we're a victim of success. In the countries where you have measles all the time, nobody gets confused about this.
Do you get mad about it?
I get more mad about the deaths we're not avoiding. I spend my time on the countries where you still have, in the case of measles, over 300,000 kids dying a year. In the case of diarrheal diseases, over 1 million a year. There's 6 million kids a year still dying. Why aren't we getting vaccines out in Africa for diarrhea, for respiratory disease? Why don't we have a vaccine for malaria? Those are the things that I push forward. I wouldn't say I get angry, but I'm really impatient that we're not moving as fast as I'd like.
These actions weren't just about public health. They were driven by profit and control. Factual statements were buried. Free speech was cancelled, and a narrative was manipulated to benefit the higher-ups. Now think about this. Meta currently runs the AI model Llama. This model is open sourced and used by a lot of startups. Since Meta made the Llama model accessible to companies who want to build on their easy-to-use infrastructure, and Microsoft is currently funding OpenAI and basically holding full control over OpenAI, because they can pull the plug on funding whenever they want. Do you see it now? Two of the most influential AI companies probably don't even have you on their mind besides power and control. While these two companies made it obvious how they think about us, it's probably the same for other top AI companies. For example, Google DeepMind, who made the model Gemini, removing the previous corporate code of conduct. Don't be evil.
In 1999, Amit Patel, creator of Gmail, said he wanted a slogan that was also a bit of a jab at a lot of the other companies, especially our competitors, who at the time, in our opinion, were kind of exploiting the users to some extent. The most famous phrase in Google's corporate philosophy, "Don't be evil," has been almost entirely removed from the technology giant's code.
If I walk over there and sit next to Mr. Johnson and carry my phone, does Google know that I was sitting here and then I moved over there? Yes or no?
I genuinely don't know without knowing what
I'm shocked
services.
you don't know.
Do you or do you not collect identifiers like name, age, and address? Yes or no?
If you're creating an account, yes, and using an account, yes.
Specific search histories when person types something into a search bar.
If you have search history turned on, yes.
Device identifiers like IP address or IMEI.
Depending on the situation, we could be collecting it, yes.
GPS signals, Wi-Fi signals, Bluetooth beacons.
There may be situations, yes.
GPS, yes.
Yes.
Contents of emails and Google documents.
We store the data, but we don't read or look at your Gmail.
You have access to them.
as a company, we have access to them, yes.
The internet has slipped further and further into the hands of corporate giants. These corporations claim they protect the interests of their users, but time and again, they cross the line. From data breaches to invasion of privacy to full-on censorship, they are letting everyone know who is in control.
Do you see it now? These companies have no good intentions towards the common folk. Let's hope I'm wrong this time. Based on my research, the only companies currently still striving for a better world, without focusing on full control on the human species with their company, are XAI, made by Elon Musk, and SSI, Safe Superintelligence, made by Ilya Sutskever. Let's hope these companies care about the human species and are fast enough to save us from the others. Why did I exclude Anthropic? Well, that's a topic for another video. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it made you think about the current situation. If you think I'm wrong, feel free to leave your insights down below in the comments. And remember, curiosity cured the cat. Stay curious, and until next time.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you liked the video. Did you subscribe already? I'm waiting. Thank you for subscribing.